All right, so aquaculture.
Aquaculture.
I bet you weren't expecting to be talking about uh, aquaculture today.
It's not the first thing that comes to mind.
No, but specifically, we're going even deeper into aquaculture, into like its hidden heroes,
Okay.
aquaculture mooring managers.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not even sure I knew that that job title existed before this deep dive. So
It's incredibly niche,
yeah,
but maybe more important than a lot of people realize.
okay,
Because, aquaculture, it's essentially farming fish.
right.
And it's on track to provide more than half the world's seafood relatively soon.
Wow,
And as wild fish stocks, they face more and more pressure.
right.
These fish farms, they're only becoming more and more crucial.
So big picture is there's a huge demand for farmed fish, but where do these mooring managers come in? Like, what makes them so essential in all of this?
So picture those massive fish cages that you may have seen. They don't just float around. Aquaculture mooring managers are the ones that make sure that these cages, some of which are incredibly high tech, stay securely in place, even when faced with some pretty unpredictable ocean conditions.
Right, because just dropping like a regular anchor wouldn't really cut it out in open ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These managers are dealing with crazy currents, wave patterns, varying seabed conditions.
Oh, wow.
We're talking precise calculations, sophisticated equipment, and a really deep understanding of how these cages are interacting with the marine environment.
It sounds like a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating blend of engineering and environmental science.
So walk us through like a day in the life of an aquaculture mooring manager. Like, what are they actually doing to make sure that these fish cages stay put?
So before a single cage even touches the water,
Okay.
these managers are poring over maps, they're looking at data, they're considering the location, the species being raised in the cages, the currents, the seabed type.
Oh, wow.
They're considering everything. And based on that, they pick the most appropriate mooring system,
Oh, okay.
which could be anything from traditional anchor systems to much more complex setups with self-propelled or even semi-submersible cages.
Hold on. Self-propelled and semi-submersible cages. What makes those necessary?
That's where it gets really interesting. So aquaculture is moving further offshore
Okay.
into deeper and rougher waters.
Makes sense.
So we need more sophisticated solutions.
Right.
Self-propelled cages, they can be moved to avoid things like storms or areas of low oxygen.
Oh, wow.
Whereas the semi-submersible ones, those can be lowered during rough weather, and that minimizes stress on the fish
Oh,
and the mooring system.
that makes a lot more sense. So it's like they're engineering these systems to work with the ocean's natural forces, not against them.
Hey, it's working with the ocean.
That's really cool. That's incredible, like, how this field is innovating.
Absolutely. And it's not just about choosing the right system.
Right.
They're overseeing the installation, they're supervising the teams, they're coordinating with contractors, and they're ensuring everything is done to the highest possible standard.
Oh.
And their job doesn't stop there.
Ah.
They're responsible for the ongoing monitoring and maintenance of these systems,
Oh, wow.
which is no small feat
Yeah.
considering the environment they're operating in.
Yeah, it sounds like the ocean throws a lot of curveballs their way. So what kind of skills do you actually need to handle that? I imagine it takes a little more than knowing how to tie a good knot.
Yeah, you're telling me you need a solid foundation in engineering,
Okay.
understanding how all these systems work, being able to troubleshoot any problems that come up, and staying up to date on the latest technologies.
Right, of course.
Which is incredibly important. But you also need a deep understanding of the marine environment itself.
So you're not just an engineer, you're like an oceanographer as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to understand how those currents, those waves, even the tiniest organisms can affect these cages and the fish inside them. So that means you need knowledge of water quality, marine biology, even things like predator behavior.
Wow.
It's truly an interdisciplinary field.
So it's clear this job needs a pretty unique combo of skills.
Yeah.
Like we've got the engineering know-how, deep understanding of the ocean, and then probably a healthy dose of problem-solving skills for all those curveballs, right?
Right.
But let's say someone's listening right now and they're thinking, okay, this sounds pretty cool, but how do you even become an aquaculture mooring manager? Where do you even start?
Well, there's no, become an aquaculture mooring manager starter kit on Amazon, unfortunately.
That would be awesome, though.
Right. But in all seriousness, I think it often starts with a real passion for the ocean, a desire to work in a field that combines technology and sustainability.
Right. make a difference.
Exactly. So from there, education is going to be key.
Okay.
We're talking degrees in things like marine engineering, oceanography, aquaculture.
But
Even things like marine biology can be really relevant.
because you're understanding that whole ecosystem,
The whole thing.
not just the cages.
Yep.
What about after graduation, though? Because, like, those entry-level jobs, those can be tough to land.
Oh, yeah.
Even with, like, the perfect degree?
Yeah. Experience is critical.
Okay.
That's where those internships, the volunteering, anything that really gets your hands dirty comes in. And I mean that literally and figuratively. You could be helping maintain equipment at a fish farm or assisting researchers with underwater surveys, using sonar, sediment sampling, or even just volunteering at your local aquarium to learn about the specific needs of all the different fish species.
Soaking up all that knowledge.
All of it.
Love that.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to take the leap into, like, a full-time role.
You do.
What does a typical career path look like for someone, they're aiming for that aquaculture mooring manager position? What are the stepping stones?
RoleCatcher has some great insights on this. So you're not usually jumping straight from college into, managing a whole mooring operation.
Okay.
Many actually start as what are called aquaculture mooring technicians.
Oh, right.
Think of it as that hands-on, boots on the deck, or I guess fins in the water
Right.
phase of your career.
So they're actually out there deploying the mooring systems,
Yeah.
working directly with the equipment, probably dealing with the occasional rogue wave or curious seal.
Exactly. They are learning the ropes.
Literally.
Literally. They are learning the ropes from those seasoned professionals. They're developing those practical skills, and they're building a deep understanding of how these different mooring systems actually function out in the real world.
So it's like a paid apprenticeship.
Totally.
But instead of learning from, like, a master craftsperson, you're learning from the ocean itself.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And as they gain that experience, they might move on to become aquaculture mooring supervisors.
Okay.
So they're taking on a bit more responsibility, overseeing teams, managing projects, making sure those safety protocols are being followed.
Right, keeping everybody in line.
Exactly. They're also acting as that bridge between the hands-on technicians and then that higher level management,
Okay.
making sure everything's running smoothly and efficiently.
Okay, so they've mastered, like, technical stuff, proven themselves as leaders.
Yeah.
What is the final hurdle to actually becoming an aquaculture mooring manager? What does that look like?
That's when things get really, really interesting. Because at that level, it's not just about the technical expertise.
Right.
It's also about strategic thinking, innovation, understanding that really big picture. So they're responsible for developing those long-term mooring strategies, evaluating new technologies,
Wow.
and making sure their operations are both environmentally and economically sustainable.
So you need a head for business as much as a head for engineering at that point.
It's that sweet spot.
Yeah.
They're analyzing data, managing budgets, negotiating with contractors, and of course, staying up to date on all the latest regulations.
Right, and those are always changing. So.
Always. Which means dealing with things like permits, agencies like NOAA,
Of course, yeah.
compliance with the FDA guidelines, especially when we're talking about seafood that's going to end up on people's plates.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Safety first.
It's amazing how that one role, that aquaculture mooring manager, touches on so many different aspects of the aquaculture industry.
Right.
From the science of raising fish to, like, the logistics of operating in a really challenging environment to the business of actually getting that product to market.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And let's not forget the people skills.
Right.
Because, an aquaculture mooring manager doesn't work in a bubble.
Yeah.
They're working with engineers, biologists, the technicians, contractors, even government agencies.
Oh, yeah?
So being able to effectively communicate, build relationships, and lead a team towards a common goal,
Yeah.
that's crucial.
Absolutely. It's a demanding job, but it sounds, for the right person with the right combo of skills and passion.
Totally.
That sounds incredibly rewarding. You're not just working a job.
Yeah.
You are contributing to, like, a more sustainable future for all of us.
I think that's what really stood out to me in these RoleCatcher guides.
Yeah.
It's really easy to overlook those kind of behind-the-scenes careers.
Yeah.
But when you really look at it, when you really dig deeper,
Yeah.
you realize just how important they really are.
Right.
These aquaculture mooring managers are playing a really critical role in addressing some of the biggest challenges that we're facing on this planet, food security,
Right.
environmental sustainability, and the health of our oceans.
And to think, It all starts with this, like, simple question of how do we keep those fish cages from floating away?
That's it.
Who knew it could lead to, like, such a fascinating deep dive? It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
of a job like this, the
Yeah.
engineering, the regulations, all that stuff.
Right.
But you've really highlighted, like, the bigger impact this role has. We're
Yeah.
talking about, like, feeding a growing planet.
Absolutely. And doing it sustainably.
Right.
That's where the aquaculture mooring managers really come in.
Right.
Think about it. Okay. A poorly moored cage, that's not just a risk of economic loss for the farmer. It's
Right. That's their livelihood.
Exactly.
Wow.
But it can have like cascading effects on the environment.
Right. Like those escaped fish we were talking about earlier. That can't be good
No, not at all.
for the balance of the ecosystem.
Escaped fish, they compete with native populations for food and habitat.
Right.
They can even interbreed,
Oh, wow.
potentially weakening the gene pool of the wild species.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered that.
And then you've got the issue of waste
Right, of course, yeah.
accumulating below the cages.
Right, which can lead
It
to...
impacts water quality,
Yeah.
harms those sensitive seabed ecosystems.
It's like they're walking this tightrope. The mooring manager.
Yeah.
Balancing the need to produce food with, like, the responsibility of protecting the ocean.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's a huge responsibility, and it's only going to get bigger as aquaculture continues to expand. We're going to need more aquaculture mooring managers.
But even more importantly, we need people who are really thinking critically,
Right.
creatively, about how to make this industry even more sustainable.
It makes you realize this isn't just a job. This is a career with a really important purpose.
Yeah.
These are individuals who are on the front lines of tackling like global food security.
Right.
And they're doing it while working and protecting like one of Earth's most vital resources.
Absolutely. And the innovation that we're seeing in this field, it's really inspiring. New mooring designs, advanced monitoring systems. They're using sensors to track everything.
Wow.
Water quality, fish behavior.
Oh, that's cool.
It's all geared toward minimizing that environmental footprint.
It's like a great reminder that even in these incredibly technical, like specialized fields, it's that human ingenuity, that drive to find solutions, that's going to make the biggest difference.
It's not just about knowing the science.
Right.
Or the engineering. It's about that passion, that dedication to finding a better way forward.
I love that. And, who knows? Maybe our conversation today will spark that passion in someone listening.
That would be amazing.
Maybe there's a future aquaculture mooring manager out there.
Yeah, listening right now.
That just stumbled upon their calling.
I love it. And, even if aquaculture isn't really their thing, I hope our listeners walk away from this episode with, like, a sense of wonder.
Yeah.
About the hidden complexities of the world around us.
Yeah.
And all the incredible people who are, like, working behind the scenes to solve some of the biggest challenges that humanity's facing.
I think that's the beauty of deep dives like this. You just never know where they might lead.
Right.
What unexpected insights you'll uncover.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, stay curious, keep asking those questions, and remember, there's a whole world out there.
Whole world.
Of fascinating careers, many of which you've probably never even heard of. So who knows what amazing things you might discover.
Get out there.
Exactly.